15 points, 10 rebounds, and the Pelicans win over the Raptors. Big Perk back here with us. Guys, the first game, as you just heard, tomorrow is on ESPN Slate, is the Pelicans and the Heat. So, Max, I'll start with you here. Can Zion ever be the best player in the world?
The answer is yes. I mean, we're asking what is his ceiling, right? What's his potential? Yeah, he like a lot of players you can look at and say, that player will never be the best player in the world. You can eliminate that even after a season, even when they're 19 years old. You can't do that with Zion Williamson. The man averaged, 22 and 8, something like that, as a 19-year-old in the NBA. You know, like, he has a little wiggle to his game, too, for a dude that size, and a little touch in terms of his shooting for a guy that size and his age. The only question with Zion is health. The floor for Zion, the floor, is high-level all-star. So if that's the floor, you tell me the ceiling isn't MVP, isn't best player on earth? Look, here's the problem when people look at Zion. There's never been anyone like him. So he doesn't look like what's come before. And we have a tendency to typecast in our mind, right? This guy, like, what do we look for? A lanky two-way wing. That guy could be the best player in the world, just like once upon a time, a back-to-the-basket center who protected the rim and could score and grab rebounds. That guy used to be the best player in the world. And then Jordan. So then we look for Kobe, and LeBron is like a hybrid between Magic and Jordan. And that's the guy we're looking for. But the next guy might not look like the last guy. Zion's not built like a long, lanky defender. He doesn't have the height of a back-to-the-basket center shot blocker. But what can't he do? The dude just turned 20 years old, and he's already all-star level. Yes, he can be the best player in the world one day.
Well, Max, I have to respectfully disagree because I like Zion. I think he's box office. And just because you're box office doesn't mean that you're going to be the best player in the world or that you are the best player in the world. It's just that you're exciting to watch. And here's the reason why. It's a lot of guys out there that are under the age of 30, even under the age of 25, that is in heavy competition for being the face of the NBA and being the best player in the world. You have guys like Ja Morant, who is in Zion's class, who won Rookie of the Year, who just dropped 40-plus last night. You have guys like a guy like Joel Embiid, Jokic. You have Tatum. You have Giannis, you have Anthony Davis, you have so many other guys out there that are ahead of Zion, in my opinion. And to be honest, Zion is not even the best player on the Pelicans right now. It's Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram last night, 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. Just dominating. And just stop it. First-time All-Star, most improved. The sky's the limit for him. I heard it from multiple guys that played with him. You talk to LeBron James, Rajon Rondo. All these guys raved on how good Brandon Ingram is and how great he could be. So Zion is not even the best player on this team right now, let alone talking about being the best player in the league. And I get it, right? He's something that we've never seen before. He don't have the long, lengthy, he's not 6'10". He's not cut up. He's short. He's kind of stubby. He has a different type of build. But he gets the job done. But as far as being the best player in the league, nah, I don't see it, Max. Not at all.
You know what the problem with what you're saying is? You know what the problem with what you're saying is? You're sleeping on his age.
It's not a problem.
In terms of right.
It's not a problem.
But first of all, he doesn't bomb from three. He's not 7 feet tall. He's not a point guard. He's not a wing that looks like Kobe or Jordan or something like that. He's not a point forward like LeBron, right? Like, all those things are true, so it's hard to think of how does that guy become the best in the league. But he's 20. He was 19. He's going to be 20 all year this season, right? He was age 19 last year, averaging almost 23 points with over 8 boards. Age 19, you know how many few players in the history of basketball have ever been good at that age? But a lot of them, Perk, were that good at that age because they were already a lot of what they were going to be. Zion's athletic ability is so freakish that there's so many ways for him to improve, like his free throw shooting, his three-point shooting, his passing, there's so many things he could do to make himself better, and he's got athletic ability that no one can practice to get to be like that guy.
All right, let me get to the next one. Over on ABC, it's Steph versus the Greek Freak, where the Warriors and Bucks will each be going for their first win tomorrow. Draymond Green's still out with a foot injury. Perk, you're up first. Are the Warriors a serious threat in the West?
They are a serious threat, Molly. And look, let's not overreact to what we saw on opening night against the Brooklyn Nets, because the Brooklyn Nets are going to beat a lot of people like that. The Warriors have the right pieces. Although they're missing Klay, they could be an Oklahoma City Thunder team from last season. I could see them finishing top 5 or even top 6 in the Western Conference, being a dangerous out. They still have Steph, who I believe is going to have an MVP-type season. They have Kelly Oubre, who showed us flashes in that Brooklyn game. Andrew Wiggins will come along. The guy is a 20-point career scorer. And when they get back Draymond Green, I tell people this all the time. Draymond Green is the heart and soul of that team. He gives them swagger. He gives them that tenacity. He gives them confidence. And when he get a chance when he come back off the injury and he pairs up with James Wiseman, who I believe is going to win Rookie of the Year because the kid is a flat-out stud, the Warriors are going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem offensively. They're going to be a problem defensively. They have one of the best defensive coaches in the NBA in Ron Adams. I love what Mike Brown brings to the table. So the Warriors, their culture, they're not going anywhere, and they are going to be a threat. Will they win a title this season? No, but they will make the playoffs, and if I'm a team, I'm trying to stay far away from them as possible.
Yeah, they're a threat. Perk, they're not a threat this year.
Stop
the Warriors don't have enough shooting,
stuttering.
period. They don't have enough shooting.
Stuttering.
They don't
Stop
have enough
stuttering.
shooting, period.
Stop
They have the greatest
stuttering.
shooter of
Get it
all
out.
time with the ball in his hand, Steph Curry. That's the guy. They don't have a single other player on the team who shoots average for his position. Not a single other player on the team who's an average shooter for his position. So, you're not going to win in the NBA like that. You just can't. You talk about a top 5 or 6 in the Western Conference, they're not going to be better than Dallas. I don't think they're going to be better than Phoenix. Obviously not the Lakers. I don't think they're going to be better than the Clippers. I don't think they're going to be better than the Nuggets. I don't think they're going to be better than the Trailblazers. Who exactly are they a threat to? Defensively, I agree with you. They have some talent. I agree with you about Wiseman. Wiseman already looks like his floor is pretty damn good, right? That's his floor. Pretty good. So he should be a nice player. They don't shoot it well enough. When you have Steph and Klay, if Draymond's shooting 29%, 30% from 3, that's all right. You can beat you a lot of ways. They can beat you a lot of ways. When you take Klay out of that mix and KD out of the mix, and you start to look around, you don't even have a Harrison Barnes type unless you think that's Oubre, right? You start to look around that team. Where does the outside shooting come from? It can't all come from Steph Curry. You need some spacing. That someone doesn't provide you spacing other than Steph. They don't have it.
Max, you don't just need shooting to win basketball games. Guys could get buckets in other ways.
But you do need it.
Andrew Wiggins is a slasher. Andrew Wiggins has a mid-range game. Andrew Wiggins can post up. I don't understand what you're saying. I'm not saying that they're going to win a championship, but you don't just have to have shooting to win basketball games. It's other ways to put the ball in the basket, Max. And you have a slash in Andrew Wiggins. You have Kelly Oubre who could get buckets. And excuse me?
I'm saying there are other ways to score, but you need a requisite level of shooting in the modern NBA, Perk. Even the slashing and the post-ups and everything, you need spacing. You need some guys to threaten from the outside to do that for you. Not to mention you want to count by 3 if you can, and Steph is the best who ever did it in terms of that, and no one else is even an average shooter that way. By the way, when you have Steph and Klay and, on the same team, and they're bombing, now all of a sudden, especially from that distance, dudes like Draymond Green, their three-point percentage goes up, right? Everyone becomes a better shooter because it takes longer for guys to get to them defensively. They have more room to shoot. But when you take Klay away, and KD's not on the team anymore, and it's all about Steph, suddenly not everyone's going to have the same room to shoot. And it's not going to be so easy for Wiggins and everyone to get to the basket. It's not all about shooting, but you need a certain level of it.
Okay, Max, so are you telling me the Warriors are not going to make the playoffs this season?
They ain't going to win a playoff series, and I don't know if they make the playoffs. I just named 6 teams that are definitely better than them. So they're going to be competing with 3 or 4 other teams to see if they. And by the way, so what if they make the playoffs in this league? We're 15 teams in each conference, right? And now you're talking about really with the playing game, 10 players, 10 teams make the playoffs, because if you're playing in a playing game, that's the postseason. That's 2/3 of the conference are in the playoffs. So what if you make the playoffs?
Max, stop moving the goalposts to fit your narrative. I asked you a simple question. Are the Warriors going to make the playoffs this year?
I guess probably, because you have a 67% chance of making the playoffs. Any team does.
Okay.
All right, let me get to another game that looks like it could definitely be a playoff matchup, and that would be the Nets and the Celtics. They are also playing tomorrow. They'll battle it out for what could potentially be Eastern Conference Finals, guys. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum each scored 30 last night for the C's, one night after KD and Kyrie combined for 48. It's your former team here. Who's the most important person in the Celtics-Nets game, Perk?
It's Jaylen Brown. Look, we already know what we're going to get, what you're going to get from Kevin Durant. You already know what you're going to get from Jason Tatum. The stage is set for Jaylen Brown. And here's why. With Kemba Walker being out, it's time for Jaylen Brown to show the world that he belongs. I thought last year that he got snubbed. He should have been an all-star. He was the guy that averaged 20 points on 49% shooting, could lock you up on the other end. Look at what he did last year in the bubble. When Gordon Hayward went out, he stepped his game up tremendously. One could argue that he was the most consistent player on the Celtic roster. And now you have Kemba being out. Jaylen Brown, is his time right now to show the world, show the Celtic fans that he's an elite player and that his name should be mentioned in the conversation with the elite wings when you mention Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Paul George. Jaylen Brown should be right there in the thick of things. So I'm looking to see what Jaylen Brown is going to do tomorrow. Can he follow up with the performance he had last night and come and bring it against the Brooklyn Nets on Christmas Day?
Now you're finally talking some sense. I respect that answer. It's wrong, but I respect
I've
the
been
answer.
talking sense.
Because if
I've been
Jaylen
talking
Brown
sense.
is not that much different than Jason Tatum, if that's the case, they're like 1A and 1B, the Celtics are going to be a whole kind of problem this season. And Jaylen Brown really showed something last night. But the answer is actually Kevin Durant. Maybe even because of what you said about Jaylen Brown. Because what we have a tendency to do is make an elite tier, and then once you're in the elite, it's like, well, that cancels out. But there, as Meek Mill said, Perk, there are levels to this, right? Kevin Durant is not just supposed to be elite. He's supposed to give the Nets a premium if he's really still KD. If he's not 80% KD, but back to what he was, he's supposed to give you a premium against guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. He's supposed to be the best player in the East whenever he takes the court, except for some nights maybe against the Greek Freak. Because though he was a 2-time reigning regular season MVP, in the regular season at least, other than the Greek Freak, he's certainly supposed to be better than everybody else whenever he takes the floor. And if KD can do that, the sky really is the limit for the Nets. They're not simply in the mix with the Celtics, with the Bucks and teams like that, but they really they're going to be overwhelming favorites to get out of the East, maybe even win a chip if KD is really KD. He's the most important player in that game.
Well, Max, I'm not arguing that. And we already know what Kevin Durant is going to bring to the table. But what I'm saying is that we know that the Brooklyn Nets have a duo. We know that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant is an elite duo, arguably the best duo in the league. If you want to compare LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you could pick your poison, right? What I'm saying is, in order for the Celtics to have a chance, their duo is going to have to step up. We know what Jason Tatum is capable of doing. We know that he could go for 40. Now it's time for Jaylen Brown. That's why I'm saying he's the most important player in this matchup tomorrow night. And by the way, You stop capping to the people out there listening. You know you don't listen to Meek Mills. And when did you just happen to jump on the KD bandwagon? Because just 2-3 weeks ago, Max, you was telling me that, oh, Kevin Durant, he's not going to be the KD because almost always when you have an injury like the Achilles injury, there's no way you're going to return to the same caliber player you was before you got hurt. So stop all that capping because you know you're not jamming Meek Mills. Stop it.
Number one, Perk, you don't want to talk hip-hop with me. Do you really want to do that? You really want to do that? Are you questioning my hip-hop bona fides right now on national TV? Number two, I agree with you about Jaylen Brown's importance. There's no doubt. He makes the Celtics different if that's not a mirage, if he doesn't kind of plateau as sort of all-star, but really is ascending as one of the elite wings. But KD is different. That's right. A couple weeks ago, I was questioning KD because I'm not going to put that on him. Come back from an Achilles as one of the only players in history to ever do it and still be the same dude. It almost never happens. If he could do it, great. But, I need to see it through the preseason. And so far in a regular season game, I have seen that. And what that means is, look, what happened to the Warriors when they got KD? The Warriors were lucky to beat the Cavs in one finals before KD. And the only reason the Warriors beat the Cavs was because LeBron didn't have Kyrie or Kevin Love. Or else, I'm telling you right now, the Warriors surely would have lost that series. They went 6 games with